Hello, Foundations of Entrepreneurship. Sorry I couldn't be in class today. I'm out of state. But anytime during this class, if you have any questions or need help with anything, I'm on the road, so you can definitely send me emails, and I will be able to definitely answer those while I'm driving. Okay, so today, or what we're going to talk about next, or we're done with the career planning process, we're going to move into budgeting. So we're going to look at some personal financial statements today, mainly dealing with budgeting. So our goals for this chapter would be: 1, to explain the basics of money management; 2, identify some purposes of a budget, why you want to do that. We're going to describe the steps of budgeting, and then some characteristics of a successful budgeting techniques. Okay, so let's move on. If I can get it to work. Alright, so the key terms that I want you to focus on with chapter 16. I know that you have more than these, but these are the main ones that I really want you to focus on. Okay, so money management. We're going to talk about what a cash flow statement is, the difference between a fixed expense and a variable expense, what an allowance is, and then budget variance. Okay, so money management basics. So what that is it refers essentially to the day-to-day financial activities associated with a limited income. So you don't have an unlimited income, which means you can't just go into a store and keep spending and spending and spending. Eventually, you're going to run out of money. So it's limited to a certain amount. And you want to make sure you can budget that so that you can make sure that you, one, satisfy your unlimited wants and needs without running out of money. Okay, now budgeting and money management, essentially it involves making sure that you can get as much out of your money as you can through the process of carefully planning, saving, and then obviously spending your money. Okay, so this actually includes making a plan and making sure that you stick to that plan on how you plan to spend it. Okay, so successful money managers, what they do, okay, to make sure that they are good with their money and they have enough to spend. Okay, 1, they set goals. 2, they make wise decisions. Okay, obviously you can't, you set a goal and you set up a budget for your money. You can't go out and just go buy random things all the time. You've kind of got to stick to it, and you got to make sure that you're disciplined and making good decisions with that. Okay, buying wisely, so you only buy what you know you can afford and what things that you've budgeted for. Okay, and you live within your income, meaning I only make $20,000 a year. I can't go buy a Ferrari. Okay, I got to make sure that I'm living with the amount of money that I actually make, and I know what I can afford. Okay, so personal cash flow statements. What that is, okay, is a statement that essentially shows all the money that comes in, which are cash inflows, okay, and all the money or the things that you have to pay, which would be considered your cash outflows. Okay, what you do with a cash flow statement is essentially you compare the inflows and the outflows to make sure you know what's coming in, what's going out, and you can be aware of those things. So here's an idea of what a cash flow statement would look like. Okay, so you can see the inflows. Okay, so you get the net income, your take-home pay, any types of interest or anything like that that you might bring in. And they add all that together to show a total income of $1,310. Okay, you have also list out your cash outflows, which would be things that you have to spend money on. So rent, food, clothing, utilities, telephone, all that stuff. You add all that together, and they show a total spending of $1,065, meaning you have a net cash flow of $245 left to spend on whatever you need to. And usually, most of the time, that's going to go into savings. Okay, so budgeting activities. There's different types of budgeting activities that you need to make sure you're aware of. Okay, and making sure that you can handle. Okay, so what those include are: 1, living within your income, achieving your financial goals. Okay, helps you buy wisely. Okay, and it also allows you to avoid credit problems. Okay, and obviously also plan for financial emergencies, because you never know when that kind of stuff might happen. Okay, so ultimately, if you practice all of those things, you'll eventually develop good money management skills. So, advantages of budgeting. Okay, 1, your financial uncertainties will be reduced. Okay, so meaning you're not going to 100% reduce these things, but you will know for sure what things you can afford, what things you need to pay for, and be able to make sure you pay them and you don't default or you withdraw too much out of your bank account or miss payments. Okay, there's still going to be times where emergencies happen. You have to go to the doctor, your car breaks down, those kinds of things. But if you budget, those things won't be as stressful as if they do if you didn't budget. Okay, you gain a little bit more control of your financial activities. You know exactly what's going on. Okay, your family and household members will know more. Okay, what things you can spend your money on, what things you can't, so that they're more attuned to that. And finally, earning, spending, protecting, and saving your resources will be more systematic. So the budgeting process. Okay, first thing that you do when you start a budget. Okay, one is set financial goals. What do you want to do with your money? Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to go to college? Okay, you need to set those goals and how you're going to make yourself get there. Okay, you need to plan your budget categories, and I'll talk about those here in a second. Okay, so each budget has different categories you need to include. Okay, these can include fixed expenses and variable expenses. A fixed expense is something that is exact same every single month. A variable expense can be adjusted. It might change the amount, or it might not happen every single month. Okay, allows you to maintain your financial records. The next part would be maintaining your financial records, and then the last part would be evaluate your budget. So if there's anything you need to change for the next month, adjust it, and so that you know what things or how it's going to work. Okay, there's a thing called budget variance, which means maybe you saved $100 for vehicle expenses, but you end up spending $250 that month, or gas, or whatever it is, and that's a budget variance. Is essentially how far did you, or how much did your expenses differ than what your budget actually stated. So you're going to have to adjust that while you're evaluating your budget. Okay, so here's some examples of some budget categories. Okay, you're going to hear the word allowance. So you would want to set up an allowance for each one of these categories. So biggest one, you want to save money so that you can save for your financial goals. Okay, food, clothing, household expenses are important because those are kind of things that you need to make sure you can live a healthy lifestyle, make sure that you have everything you need. Okay, household expense or transportation expenses to make sure you can get to work, get to school, whatever it is. Okay, health and personal care, so you're making sure you take care of yourself. Recreational and education, because everyone needs to have some fun every once in a while. So you can save for those kinds of things. And then also gifts and contributions allow you to make sure that you have money for gifts during for birthdays, Christmas, whatever it is, for those times. Okay, so here's an example of what a budget could look like. Okay, so this is the Chung household. You'll see it's their monthly budget. They have an estimated income for Manuel of $4,225 and Lydia's income of $4,350. Total income there is $8,557. Okay, you'll notice here that both the total income and the total expenses are equal to the exact same, because this is called a zero based balance. What that means is they add up all their food, their clothing, their household expenses, transportation, all that stuff up, okay, and at the end they put the rest into savings so that their total expenses equal total income. Okay, so you'll see that they put $1,100 in for food, clothing for $475, household $1,825. Okay, and it's kind of just a guess, really. It's trial and error. You got to figure out how much you think you're going to spend, and then you try it out for a couple months. Check out that budget variance. If it's completely different, you might have to adjust it. The biggest one that will probably be adjusted the most would be the savings, because if you can't, if you feel that you need to put more food and you can't take away from any of these other items, you might have to adjust your savings. Okay, you might have to drop on the recreation and education, because maybe you have to stay home a little bit more than you usually would, and if there's something else that needs to be paid for. Okay, so it's always an adjustment so that you can make sure that you're living within your means. Okay, now characteristics of an effective budget or a budgeter. Okay, one, it must be realistic. Okay, so if I go back here, okay, I can't be putting $1,200 in the recreation and education. It needs to be something that's going to actually be real. Okay, it should be flexible. So if I need to change things, or if I need to add more money somewhere else, I need to make sure that I can do that. Okay, It should be evaluated regularly. Like I mentioned, if you spend too much one month, you might have to adjust it sometimes, okay, to make sure that you can pay for all the important things first before you have fun, okay, and it must be well planned and clearly communicated. So you need to make sure that you plan it out yourself with everybody else that's involved, okay, and then communicate where the money is going to go so that people don't expect money when they don't have it, okay, and then it needs to be in a simple format so you can make sure you understand it. Okay, budgeting formats can be software programs. You can find them on your phone. You can find them on the computer. You can use Microsoft Excel. You can write it down on paper. It just needs to be, okay, somewhere that you can budget. Okay, you can use a checkbook. Okay, a checkbook's not always the best option. Okay, sometimes people forget to add things in a checkbook. Okay, it's not the exact same as a written out budget. So I wouldn't use a checkbook all the time, but it can be used sometimes. And then sometimes a budget format can be unwritten as well. Okay, and here's just an example of some sample income and expense record. Okay, that you would want to make sure that you keep track of so that you can come back and use that to compare to your budget. Okay, so that's budgeting. Big assignment today is the birthday party budget. So if you go to Google Classroom, you're going to find an assignment called birthday party budget. Click on that. Okay, documents that you're going to see. Okay, one is the budget assignment. If I click and open that, okay, you are going to see the instructions. Your job is a budget for 8 people. Okay, you only have $100 to work with and you have to buy 10 items minimum. Okay, remember your budget needs to be practical, planned, flexible, and written down. Okay, I gave you a couple documents that you can use. There's a spreadsheet and the final document that you need to create. Okay, all of your purchases must be real amounts so you can find them on the internet. So you search Google, you can go to Walmart, Hy-Vee, wherever you want to go to and find costs. Okay, flyers, newspapers, magazines, whatever it is. Okay, when you are finished, yours will look like the sample that's on mine. Okay, you will have more time to work on this on Wednesday. Mine says Tuesday, but it will be Wednesday that you have more time to work on. Okay, so what you will use is you'll use the document. Okay, if you click on it, okay, you click on the button here. Okay, once it opens, okay, it should give you the option right up in the Google Doc. If you give it a couple of seconds, you can click on open up with Google Sheets. Okay, what you're going to use this for is that you're going to need. Okay, so whether it's paper plates, if it's napkins, whatever it is, you're going to list those items here and how many packages you're going to need. Okay, where you're buying it from. So is it from Walmart, Hy-Vee, those kinds of things. What is the price? And then the total price. Okay, so the difference between total price and price is if I need to buy 3 sets of napkins and they're all $2 each, my total price is going to be $6. Okay, so you have to figure out what that total cost is. Okay, again, 10 items minimum need to be listed here. Once you have that, okay, your final item that you're going to be creating, okay, is a spreadsheet that looks like this. Okay, so you're going to put the title, okay, you're going to put the spending allowance, which is $100. You're going to have a row called items, quantity, price each, cost, and item description. Underneath there, you're going to list out all of your items, how many you need, what's the price for each, and what the total cost is, and then put the description. Okay, you'll have a section that I can help you with doing Wednesday. Okay, you're going to figure out what your total cost is. So you add all this together and put the total cost. The over and under shows you how much you are over your budget. So this is your budget variance. So this budget, an example, is $17 over 100. Okay, sorry, I don't exactly sure what just happened. Okay, but the next thing you're going to do is you are going to actually then go ahead and create a graph. And how you do that is you're going to select this column, so pizza all the way down to happy birthday banner. You're going to press and hold Control on your keyboard and select all of the costs that are associated. Okay, then on Google Sheets, you'll go to the Insert button, or above on the top, it'll be up here in this area. Okay, you'll press the Insert button, you'll go all the way down to Graphs, and you'll choose a pie chart. Okay, it'll then insert a pie chart that looks similar to this. Okay, and that's the item that you're going to actually turn in. Yours should look like this. Okay, your goal today would be to actually get all the things that you need. Okay, find them, find the quantity, the cost, all that stuff, and I can help you back on Wednesday to get this part finished. Okay, if you have any questions, please email me. Okay, but you have time to work on this and get this finished. Okay, have a good rest of your day.